Creating Connections Podcast, episode 168. I'm Mitch Taylor.
And I'm Vicki Musney.
And today is the week that we explore a chapter in our book, Creating Connections, 31 Days to Building Stronger and Deeper Relationships. And today we're on week 17, or day 17, excuse me.
Day 17.
Day 17, excuse me. And day 17, the chapter is about don't fear competition. We'll talk about our takes on that topic and delve deeper than the book more after the break.
That was nice and easy.
What are you talking about? This also speaks to a much bigger issue.
Providing personal solutions through understanding people. This is the Creating Connections Podcast with Gitomer Certified Advisor Mitch Taylor and Certified Personality Trainer Vicki Musney.
Welcome back to Creating Connections Podcast, episode 168. I'm Mitch.
And I'm Vicki.
Don't fear the reaper. Don't fear competition. That's day 17 in our book, Creating Connections, 31 Days to Building Stronger and Deeper Relationships. Vicki, what are your thoughts on that?
I have a lot of thoughts on that. I wrote that chapter. I think it's interesting, Mitch, because so many people, our natural reaction is to not want to talk with or develop relationships with other people that, quote, do the same thing that we do. I shared in the book how we experienced that when we relocated from San Jose, California to Reno, and we kind of had to make this decision, do we want to start over? That we met a videographer at a wedding fair. We were just kind of trying to learn the lay of the land, find out what was going on. And they literally took their business card back out of our hand when they found out that we did video. And I was just floored. I'm like, who does that? And then I've heard other people, well, I'm not going to talk about this. I don't want to share my secrets, and nobody else, I'm not going to show video of anything I do. And I don't want other, photographers to see my unique shots. And I don't know. It's just very short-sighted, I think.
I think short-sighted is a great word. I think that if you believe that you're not going to show something that you do because it is trademarked or it is your own secret sauce, if you will, okay, I guess. I would challenge you to say that if you think that is the greatest thing since sliced bread, then A, you should patent it, trademark it, whatever the case may be. But B, how did you come up with that idea to begin with? Was it born out of someone else? Probably. The reality is there are very few things that are completely 100% unique to you. You have your DNA, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your fingerprints, right? But I would argue that you got inspiration from somewhere. So guess what? Maybe you should innovate again. Competition forces that innovation. And I think that you also, as you know, I'm a part of Think Tank.
Mm-hmm.
And Think Tank is very much I'll just explain it to our audience the same way as explained to me, a trousers down group where we share pretty much everything, from the standpoint of businesses and things like that. So there are things that I can't share that happen in Think Tank with other groups, and things that I wouldn't want known about my business outside of Think Tank. I think it's good to have that kind of relationship. But I also believe, so some things you definitely want to keep to yourself, but to sit here and say that you're not going to talk with a guy down the street whatsoever is just ludicrous, in my opinion.
Well, I think there's so many advantages to cooperating and collaborating and frankly, just becoming friends with other people in your niche. As a past videography company owner, we grew by meeting other videographers and engaging in conversation and sharing ideas. And none of us suddenly became the other person.
No.
Like, you still have your own identity, your own personality. That's what you bring. But for DJs to say I can't talk to DJs, and photographers to say there's no reason to connect with other photographers, just seems so silly when we can all create something bigger and better. And frankly, I think it's just less work to be nice than to always be afraid and territorial, and I don't know.
And for some
that
of those
takes so much energy.
And the other thing that gets me is the cross vendors, if you will, the cross pros of, well, my service is more important than your service. Bullshit. I'm gonna have to edit that out. It's not. It's not. One entity is not more important than any other entity. You all contribute to the overall goal. Your service may be more important than the other service in a certain moment. I might give you that.
Mm-hmm.
But, beyond that, no. There's not one service more important than the other on game day, in my opinion, because the bride has chosen all of you to be there to help see her vision to life.
Yeah. Well, and think about those times, Mitch, when you might need to call on someone for backup.
Yes.
I mean, you've had times when there's been health issues or staffing issues or just different situations that have come up. And as small businesses, as sole proprietors, that alone is a reason to not be afraid of competition, but to try to create some relationships.
Absolutely.
Just so you have that in case of emergency. And I love that about the DJ community. I've seen that when somebody has had a big health issue or something like that, and I've seen other DJs step in and say, hey, I've got availability on this date. Are there events that need to be covered? And really create a community feeling. And then there's the people that take it even further. And I think about when Aldo Ryan first contacted us to do a training. And we don't often talk about our private trainings in a public setting, but I think Aldo's going to be fine with us sharing this.
I think so.
He contacted us initially for a training for his company. And then as it got closer, we found out that he invited not only his staff, but another competing local same market entertainment company to come and do the training with us.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought that was one of the coolest things that we've ever experienced as trainers, is literally seeing companies that say, we're going to raise the bar together. In fact, we are so confident that we do something great, we're going to invite another company who we think is great to come and do this training with us. And together we are going to learn how to understand our clients better, how to serve them better, how to approach our sales meetings from a healthier perspective, and really serve people and create better outcomes.
It
wasn't this,
go ahead,
I don't want to share Mitch and Vicky with you because you're my competition. It was just so cool.
It's because Aldo believed in that, the fact there's enough to go around for everyone.
Yeah.
And this isn't just, I've got to keep this to myself. Even a case in point, we hired Mike Walter to come here and do a training for tailored weddings just this past year. And granted, Tom Heath is not in my same market. He's 3.5 hours south. But I still invited him to come along and take advantage and be a part of it and interact and take advantage of the opportunity, And so I think that's important. Again, fostering an opportunity where people can help each other out versus try to hinder growth in a market, I think is important.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where, you come together for the greater good of the market. Obviously, we've seen that in other markets. Sioux Falls, South Dakota, I can think of a great example.
Well, in Manitoba, we talked about in the chapter I wrote about Brian and Dave and shared Dave Tournier's blog post where he talked about the intentionality of the relationship that he and Brian created and the competition that they have among, between each other, just to keep going and keep improving. How it's not competition in the sense of I'm going to outplay you and you're my enemy. It's competition of how can we keep going and strive to be higher and higher and become better and better by challenging each other. So a whole different mindset of what competition means and how to not be afraid of it.
Yeah.
How to make it work.
So I think that's important. So we encourage you to dive into this chapter of the book, chapter 17, or day 17, I should say. And that's week 3. And we encourage you to dive into that, take a look at creating connections, 31 days to building stronger and deeper relationships. And if you missed a day and you want to hear us go back and riff on another chapter, our previous podcasts you'll find have different chapters in them. So feel free to go back and take a listen. iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you're consuming our podcast from, YouTube. We greatly appreciate your viewership, listenership.
You can still sign up for the challenge emails on the website too, where for the 31 days from whenever you start, we will send you automatically the tip of the day, a quote, and then the action challenge for that specific day. So you can work through it any month that you want, or even, slow it down and spend 2 or 3 days on one topic if you want to.
What are your thoughts on competition? How do you treat your quote unquote competition? Are you more friendly? Is it more, keep your enemies close and your friends, frenemies closer, or whatever that is? I forget that phrase, but you get what I'm saying. And so we'd love to hear your thoughts too. Drop us a line if you want to. We'd love to hear from you. creatingconnections.biz. You can find us on Facebook is where Vicki primarily lives. LinkedIn. You can find either of us on LinkedIn as well, Mitch Taylor or Vicki Musney. That's going to be it for Creating Connections Podcast, episode 168. I'm Mitch Taylor.
And I'm Vicki Musney.
Providing personal solutions through understanding people.
Well played. Well played.
We greatly appreciate your viewership. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Have a great week.
Thank you for listening to the Creating Connections podcast with Gittimer Certified Advisor Mitch Taylor and Certified Personality Trainer Vicki Musney. For more information on providing personal solutions through understanding people better, visit creatingconnections.biz.